Growing up, I used to be in a safe space with a family member. Now, when we go out, I think we were preparing to rewrite uh school living certificate. Anytime this person sees me with any other person and he gives me this, I'm going home. Maybe he sees me with a boyfriend thing. This is anybody at all. And when he goes home to tell our mom, there's a way he relates that story that makes me look like a bad person, makes me look as though I abandoned them. That attachment style is toxic. So I was always walking on eggshells when we're out. Even when I wasn't talking to anybody, provided I was on my own, it was a problem. Distance from such people would not just not cause problem, but it will help you. Staying with such people can kill one. When is distance medicine? When is staying away medicine to our bodies, to our emotions, to our psychological health? This is part of the Tohono Health mini-series on mental health. Remember, we've been talking about boundaries, showing up for yourself, detaching yourself from all manner of toxic relationships, be it familial relationships, romantic relationships. Showing up for yourself and giving yourself a name that nobody else can give you. This episode explores the idea that sometimes stepping back from relationships, even cultural or family ties, can be an act of healing. Now, we'll be integrating New Zealand and Nigerian cultures, but this is relatable, and this can, you know that this is relatable to almost all cultures, to Asian culture, Northern America, Southern African cultures. We'll also be introducing relevant frameworks to support steps that need to be taken, or how you can distance yourself from some form of familial, toxic family relationship. How distance can heal. How distance can bring succor to one's life. So, welcome to Tohono Health, where we connect culture, research, and real talk to improve well-being for all. Like I started, today's episode is about a truth that we often avoid. Some things we do not want to talk about, things we avoid. Sometimes healing means creating distance. Just leaving that space, even from those that we love. And before I continue, I want you to understand that it can be painful. It hurts to detach from that relationship you've built over the years. It could be relationship with parents. It could be relationship with siblings. It could be relationships with people that you've stayed with, or people that you've known over the course of several years. But creating that distance may be good for one's health. Creating that distance may not just be good for you, but for the people you're living. Because at times, you are the problem. Sometimes we are like, hey, everybody does it to me. What about them? So sometimes leaving them, sometimes giving them space is also good for them, in as much as it is good for you, for your growth, for your healing. In cultures that prize family, cultures that respect love, closely knitted familial relationships, communal care, this idea feel uncomfortable. And I'll understand if people do not want to continue watching this video or listening to this podcast from this moment. But then I advise you to watch the end or listen to the end. Because if it doesn't help you, it will help someone else. Listen and watch and discuss with people, and you see how pressured and how burdened people have been with this topic, with this thing, this context, this concept that is almost like a taboo for discussion. It feels uncomfortable, even for me. Feels like a taboo. Even though I did it and I successfully did it. I did it for me. I did it for them. I did it for my health, my mental health. I did it for my spiritual growth. I did it for my physical growth. I did it for a name for myself. In loving family, whether siblings, whether extended family, whether people we've come to know for years, in loving them, in caring for them, in sharing about our life's journeys. What if a time comes when stepping back is the most loving thing? Is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and others? What if you just saying, I bow, I'm just leaving, I'm just going to be on my own for this period of time? It could be 6 months, it could be 2 months, it could be 2 years, it could be 16 years, as long as there is peace within yourself and peace within the family, as long as no one is causing trouble for anyone, as long as no one is dying. Because guess what? Sometimes we do not want to take these steps because we feel some people are going to be heavily affected. Some people, how would this person feel, or what would this person say, or what will happen to this person if I decide to take off time and take care of myself? But guess what? Life continues to move on. People will be fine. Sometimes just do you. People will be fine. Sometimes if distance is the only thing you have to give in a relationship to avoid resentment, to avoid chaos, please give that distance. Give that distance. It will not just help you, it will help others. So let's continue to unpack and see how far we can go on this topic today. If there's anything you want us to discuss, I always say, leave it in the comment section or in my DM on Instagram at Rhoda360_pod. So, why distance? Why can distance heal? Why do you think most people are now on social media talking about, oh, I cut up my family, talking about, oh, I just stayed away and I felt better. In New Zealand cultures, family is central. In Nigeria or other African cultures, family and community are sacred. So when you come about and discuss things like giving distance or just staying away for the pleasure of it, they look at you like a stranger. They look at you like an outcast. Again, many people that stay together, especially in some familial, toxic family backgrounds, family systems, they stay as a result of trauma bond. They are trauma bonded. They don't know what it means to have relationships, to have healthy relationship outside of their family system or outside of their home. That's why when any of their family member begins to have a relationship outside, they do everything to cut it off so the person can come back to them. Weeks ago, we've been talking about boundaries, showing up for yourself, and having self-respect, prestige, how to take care of your mental health. All this is just so you have an okay mental well-being. And after this episode, the next set of episodes will also talk about how to choose quality people, how to be a quality person to another person or other people. In as much as family values are sacred, are important, are sacrosanct, these values give strength, right? But they can also create pressure. They can also create burden, psychological and emotional burden for people. For instance, in New Zealand, a woman may feel obligated to attend every meeting, they call it here, everything the family or the family system is organizing. She feels obligated to attend even when her mental health is declining. No, it's not as if nobody cares, but because she refuses to choose herself first. She refuses to create that space that will say, no, this particular meeting I'm not going to attend because it's not good for my health. They'll probably be talking down people and systems and no solutions to come out of the meeting. So why am I going there? In another context, a Nigerian man abroad or even in Nigeria will face constant requests from family members for some form of help, for some form of support, leaving him stressed and resentful. See, guys, the reason why many adults are resentful, the reason why they behave as if they are always resentful, always angry, is not because they are bad. It's because most times people are tired. People are tired of this being everybody's support system. Look, even if it's not financial, you know, when you are that person that everybody calls, to complain to speak to say things to about another family member or about an issue, sometimes the mental overload creates some form of pressure in the brain. Your mental space is clogged with a lot of information, especially in Nigeria where we hardly go for therapy. Even when we want to, it's so expensive. Even in New Zealand, if you are not on some form of benefit or some form of welfare system, counseling, psychological counseling here is expensive for some people. So if you are that person that always carry burden for people, you become resentful. It looks as if we cannot talk to that person, or it looks as if why is this person being so wicked? Because they are not seeing life from your own point of view. They don't understand that. Look, you are running on an empty tank. Take care of yourself and maybe your immediate family members and them. Now, both these stories that I talked about the woman in New Zealand and having to attend every family event or family meeting, and the Nigerian man that faces constant requests. Both of them, right? Both of these people, they want to honor their culture. They want to honor their families. They want to honor their ancestry, the things they grew up with. But both of them are drowning. They are drowning. They are drowning psychologically. They are drowning emotionally. They are running on an empty tank. The only thing that will save them is distance. The only thing that will save them is just to halt, just to put a stop to some of these activities, to some of these requests, to some of this thing about being the only support system to some people. Distance is not rejection, at least in most cases. Well, this podcast is not talk about narcissism or narcissistic personality disorders. If you are creating distance from someone with a narcissistic personality disorder, then it looks like rejection. You are like, even your body wants to reject the person, right? But then if it's around, like, not really toxic, but where the support, where you are like the everyday go-to person. Meanwhile, nobody supports you. Meanwhile, you don't get that the same, you don't get the same, it's not reciprocal. Like, I support you, you support me. No, it's not like that, but everybody comes to you. Distance is not rejection. Sometimes you need to go back to fill up your tank before you come back to help these people. Distance is restoration. Distance is saying, see, I need space to heal, right? So I can return whole. So I can return to be that person you want me to be. And it's not easy at all, because sometimes people already make an image of you in their heads and say, okay, this is who this person is to me. So when you begin to create distance, or when you begin to want distance, they begin to fight. They begin to say all manner of things. But it's okay. Sometimes just let people talk. If talking will heal people, if talking will help them, emotionally. If talking will help their psychological being, let them talk. If talking will even give them money, maybe they are looking for money from you, and because you've created distance, they can't get it. And talking about you to another person who does not like you will make that person give them money. Then let them talk and get the money. Sometimes just let people talk about you. It's okay. It's okay. So let's discuss the psychology of space. You know, in Tohono Health, we like to link research to everyday talk and everyday well-being to culture. So research backs distance up. Research backs the psychology of space, giving space. And I'll talk about the attachment theory that talks about how secure relationships allow for autonomy. When ties become controlling, anxiety rises. That's the attachment theory. See, this episode may not be enough to really break down this. But if you want me to talk about all these theories, maybe we'll have to just do another episode. Now, when relationships allow for um security, say for instance, you and I are in a relationship, and it's a relationship I term a secure one. I'm able to express myself. You're able to express yourself. We're able to show love to each other in a reciprocal manner. Like I gave, you give. I go, you go. Like you're always there for me as much as I'm always there for you, right? That's when it becomes a secure relationship. But when attachment theory says, for instance, in a family relationship, you can't go out to be friends with another person because you are seen like a sellout. You can't get married and be happy in your marriage because who are you to be happy when they are not? Are you to have a relationship outside when we are your family? There's that negative attachment, there's that bond, that toxic bond, right? That keeps people together. I call it trauma bond. That kind of attachment style is controlling. It causes anxiety because always you, the empathic person, is always on, walking on eggshells. You're always careful what to do, what to say. Even, I think growing up, I used to be in a space with a family member. Now, when we go out, I think we were preparing to rewrite uh school leaving certificate. Anytime this person sees me with any other person, because it was just two of us, right? Anytime this person sees me with another person, and he gives me this, I'm going home. I'm going to tell our mom. I'm going to tell our mom. It's not, and this is not maybe he sees me with a boyfriend thing. This is anybody at all. And when he goes home to tell our mom, there's a way he relates that story that makes me look like a bad person, makes me look as though I abandoned them while we were outside. And it wasn't so. That attachment style is toxic. So I was always walking on eggshells when we're out. Even when I wasn't talking to anybody, provided I was on my own, it was a problem. Distance from such people would not just not cause problem, but it will help you. Staying with such people can kill one. It can result in loss of life, loss of being, loss of well-being, loss of everything, loss of yourself. Another theory is the boundary theory. Healthy boundaries reduce stress and prevent burnout. I talked about someone that is always resentful. And if you don't know how to create healthy boundaries around yourself, of course you always be resentful. Because here you are always giving, but then you are not receiving. You are not being filled. from wherever you are giving from, because you have been so trained, right? And when I call it training, it's not just our parents training us. Even people around us, people we've met, have trained us to be a particular person, a particular kind of support system to them. We sometimes become people pleasers. So when they come, we are ready to give, but we don't want to. We are not, in our minds, we know we do not. I know someone that will go around begging, right? For money from other people, just to, people please other people. You can learn from A to give B, just for some meager thank you. Even when she knows she'll have to look for that money and pay back, she'll do it anyways. People that cannot set boundaries. For me, when I meet people that cannot set boundaries, I see them as dangerous people, because they can just flip at any time and become whoever they are. I used to be someone that could not set boundaries too. Early years of my marriage, I used to be someone that could not set boundaries even before I got married. And I suffered the result of not setting boundaries in my life, right from when I was in school to early years of my marriage, to later in life. Later in life, I started suffering the consequences of not setting healthy boundaries earlier in life. Boundaries in your finances, boundaries in your educational pursuit, boundaries in your career trajectory and all. Healthy boundaries reduce stress. They prevent burnout. When you create healthy boundaries around you, helping people will not be a problem. Why? Because you know that, okay, at least I can help this person this week. I may not be able to help another person under 3 months. People can, like I said before, people can only gossip you and say, oh, it doesn't help often. But at least they know that you do once in a while. If that is what is good for you, if that is what keeps you going, do it for yourself. And if distance, total distance, is the boundary that you can create for yourself, please do that for yourself. Another theory is a theory of family systems, where sometimes stepping out of an enmeshed system is necessary for individual growth. Look, whether it's witchcraft or just some toxic family dynamics, there are families that would rather want you to stay with them, to live in that closely knitted family setting. Look, even if people are dying in poverty, don't just step out. Even if you've become a non-entity to yourself or a nobody to yourself, don't just go. Just stay there. They'll rather have you stay there, live in their house, or just live together with them, than for you to go out there and make a living for yourself. That's some toxic family nonsense. Sometimes stepping out of family drama, this person said this person about this person, and this person has gone ahead to say this. There are toxic family dynamics that sometimes when I look back on, I'll be like, what? Was I enmeshed in this system? When this person is causing trouble here, there's a particular person I know. Once she doesn't like you in the family, she goes round each family member to ensure that nobody is on your side. So nobody listens to you. You can see that sometimes I try to see life from this person's point of view and this person's perspective. One, it's possible that they may be sick. It's possible that they may be battling their own some form of mental instability. It's possible that they are trying to heal from something, maybe some childhood trauma or some form of mistakes they made early in their lives. But then they are doing it wrongly, because in trying to bringing down another person will not raise you up, because anybody you go about discussing other people with, or you raise people, you raise smear campaign about. By the time those people give their distance or just stay away, they say in Nigeria, they say wind blow, foul nyash open. Everybody will see you for who you are. Everybody will begin to say, oh, this person that talks about this person or these people, this is how she really is, or this is how he really is. It will all boil down to people um 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 hating on you, because this is the system, the toxic dynamic that you have created. I digress. So in creating distance, sometimes it's okay to step out of an enmeshed toxic system for your individual growth, spiritually, financially, emotionally, psychologically, physical well-being. And for some people, distance can lower cortisol. As much as it is painful to leave a family system, that we've known, once it becomes toxic, right? And you leave, you find out that distance can lower cortisol. Too much cortisol in the body increases the level of stress. And the outcomes lead to all manner of diseases. Sometimes the kidney issues, the diabetes, the hypertension, the cancer, the migraine, people experience is as a result of the consistent increased cortisol level in the blood. But distance for some people can lower this cortisol. Distance can improve emotional regulation. Distance can restore clarity. Sometimes just being on your own, in your space, whether it was as comfortable as where you were living or not, just being alone, just being in your own space, just looking into nature and defining who you are for yourself restores clarity of purpose, clarity of mind, clarity of the life that you want for yourself and how to go about it. That is not free from cultural tensions and reframing. Now, here's the challenge. In collectivist cultures, like the kind of cultures that we come from in Africa, in Asia, and New Zealand, and even other places, distance can feel like betrayal. It be like you betrayed, you are betraying this system, this thing that our ancestors have created. You are betraying our lineage. But again, we're forgetting that people have practically died and they've been buried because they refused to secure or set healthy boundaries for themselves. People have lost their lives and properties because they keep, accepting the yes culture. Yes, okay, yes, okay, yes culture. People have lost their lives. People have lost their minds because they refuse to leave that community, that space, that family dynamic that is unhealthy for them, that is toxic to their individual growth. In Nigerian culture, we say no matter how flawed your child is, you don't replace them. And this is not about a child. It's about family members. It's about your siblings. It's about uncles. It's about extended. It's about your village. People expect that no matter how flawed the person is, you cannot replace them. In previous videos, I discussed a story where an uncle once told me, look, this person is your sibling, right? No matter what they do to you, if an outsider was beating them, right, and you were walking by, you wouldn't, you will have to stop to help or to save your sibling or to help them fight the outsider. Sometimes I think about it and it looks right. My uncle was right. But then again, what if this sibling of mine caused the issue? What if I wasn't strong enough to help them fight the other person? What if I lose my life trying to do all that? Because this sibling will move on with their life. Loyalty runs deep in many of our cultures, but reframing helps. Reframing helps. Reframing your mind, the way you do things is hard. You become the black sheep of the family. Practically, you will. But distance is not abandonment. Distance is an act of love. It says, I value this relationship enough to protect it from resentment. I'm leaving, I'm staying away. That's what distance is saying. You may not be saying it with your mouth, but distance is saying, see, this relationship, I value it enough to protect it from resentment. Because if we stay together and then we're resentful towards each other, we say hurtful words towards each other, or even against each other, behind each other's back, we keep backbiting and keep backstabbing each other, then we are not living good lives. We don't get good quality of lives doing all this. So sometimes to prevent all this toxicity in relationships, distance is necessary. I was watching an Instagram reel the other day, and the person wrote that I used the knife, the knife that they used to stab me, I removed it and I cut the string that was joining us. That was distance. There was no need to create any chaos and begin to shout and begin to ask, this is what you've done to me. They know what they've done to you. They know how they see you. They know what they've said about you. They know how they've stopped that progress. They know how they've stopped that help from coming to you. They know. So sometimes you don't even need to begin to explain. Just cut it off. Distance. So, in rounding up, how do we create distance with dignity? How do we create distance with prestige? How do you live quietly? Like someone will say on social media, you say, how do we bless them with the gift of distance? First, you communicate with care. If you can, if you think communication will help. Because again, you cannot talk to people who do not listen. You cannot talk to people who do not want to hear you. People hearing you, people listening to you are two different things. They hear you because their auditory system works. But are they listening to what you're saying, both verbally and non-verbally? So if you can, communicate with care. Use I statements. Say things like, I need time to focus on my health so that I can support you better. If you're not in a good mental state, good state of mental well-being, you can say, look, I need time so that I can gain mental clarity for me to be able to help you in this situation or that situation. Talk. They can only begin to gaslight you after all I've done for you, after I showed up for you, after I washed your panties, like my aunties would say, after I did that for you, after I paid your school fees, after I did this. Sometimes most of these things they did, you didn't ask for. Sometimes you didn't even want them. They just did it because they could not set boundaries. They did it because they felt doing this is like buying your loyalty. Number 2, set clear boundaries. Define what you can do and what you cannot do. Financially, emotionally, physically, set clear boundaries. You want 10 million naira, okay? My dear brother, I can give you 1 million naira. That is what I have now, right? You want me to listen to you in the middle of the night? You want me to pick your call in the middle of the night? Okay, my dear brother, I cannot, because I have to make use of my day the following day. So you want me to attend that meeting every day or every weekend for the rest of the year? My dear sister, I can't, because I have other things to do. Or I want to sleep. I even love to sleep. Look, I can't come to your house on a Sunday afternoon because I want to sleep. Clear boundaries. Let them go and talk. Let them go and do whatever they want to do. Or you offer alternatives. Test times offer alternatives. If you cannot be present, suggest other ways that you can connect. Chat. text messages, FaceTiming, or you suggest future visits, or you practically give them advice at that moment. For instance, someone abroad may say, look, I can't send you money this month or every other month, but I'll help you apply for scholarship. And guess what? Many of these people do not even want you to help them apply for scholarships or for admissions, or show them, how you take steps in starting your business or something like that. They just want your money. And it's not easy getting this money, right? Especially when you have other responsibilities or other things that you've planned to do with your money. So in closing, my dear friends, healing sometimes means stepping back. Just step back. And let's understand that distance does not erase love. It doesn't. The reason why it feels painful really living or creating that distance is people's reaction to your distance, because not everybody can put themselves in your shoes. Not everybody understand why you're leaving, or why you left the way you did, or why you went silent the way you did. Even when you communicate it, they don't understand because they do not want to understand. Again, they've created an imagery of you in their heads and say, okay, this is who this person is to me. So when you are no longer that person, or when you are no longer there to be that person to them, then it becomes a problem. So it's not that you don't love them, it's because you're preserving the love you have for them. You don't want it to run into resentment, into hatred. So sometimes distance is better. Distance gives space for you to breathe, for you to heal, for you to grow, for you to return stronger. Sometimes in battles, you see people run back. You say, retreat, retreat, retreat. You retreat, not just out of fear, but to regroup, right? To re-strategize and come back stronger. So ask yourself, and this may help others too, right? And please when you ask yourself these questions, help us put it down in the comment section, right? Or you can reach me in the DM on Instagram with questions like, where do I need space to heal? How can I create that space without guilt? Where do I need space to heal? For myself, for others. How do I create that space without feeling guilty? My dear friends, I love to hear your thoughts. I always love to hear your thoughts. Please share your stories in the comment section, like I said, on Instagram, at Rhoda360_pod, so that we'll see how maybe we'll continue this mental health mini series. It's no longer mini because we're doing up to 8 episodes already, and see how we can feature some of your stories or some of your suggestions in future episodes. Thank you very much for joining me. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and stay winning. This has been To Hono Health. Cheers.